get American approval of a Canada-U.S. pipeline project that revives parts of Keystone XL. Questions linger over what becomes of the real organization as a Brant takeover looms. And meeting some of the big winners of the spring home lottery.
Live from our studios in Regina, this is CTV News.
Good evening. An executive order authorizing a new pipeline to transport Canadian oil to the United States has been signed by U.S. President Donald Trump. The Bridger pipeline is a joint proposal from Canadian pipeline company South Bow and U.S.-based Bridger Pipeline with a section in southwestern Saskatchewan. Jacob Carr has the reaction in our province.
Premier Scott Moe says the potential revival of parts of the cancelled Keystone XL pipeline project is good news for the province and the country. Moe taking to social media saying expanded pipeline capacity helps strengthen energy security, supports jobs, and improves market access for Canadian producers, adding we will continue to support infrastructure that connects our resources to reliable markets and drives economic growth for Saskatchewan people. This after President Donald Trump signed an order authorizing the proposed project, which would cut through the southwest corner of the province and along the border between Saskatchewan and Montana. Former pipeline builder and current editor and owner of Pipeline Online, Brian Zinchuk, agrees that it is high time that this project come to its full fruition.
I first started writing about Keystone XL around 2008. So here we are 18 years later, and it's finally might see some progress to see this actually happen in a different form than the original, but still it is a new export pipeline to the U.S. So there's great benefits of that.
Benefits that, according to Zinchuk, would include job creation during the construction of the pipeline and a growing economy due to more oil wells and oil sands. The Canadian company behind the cancelled Keystone XL pipeline, South Bow, is partnering with U.S. company Bridger Pipeline on the proposed project. South Bow offered CTV a statement saying, "We continue to evaluate the Prairie Connector project. It remains in its early stages and is subject to ongoing commercial, stakeholder, and rights holder discussions, regulatory processes, and evaluation." The project still has multiple hurdles to clear after the executive order by Trump, including state regulatory permits. Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
As Regina City Council prepares to debate the future of the Regina Exhibition grounds and the potential sale to Brant next week, questions still swirl about the future of REAL as an organization. Donovan Mace reports.
Do you have clarity on what that would mean for the future of the REAL board? No?
The Regina Exhibition Association left in limbo as city councillors debate whether or not to sell the organization to Brant.
Is that a concern for you, or?
I think what the concern is that we're able to help, like we talked about, it's not just the assets that we're responsible for, but it's the people.
Now, currently, approximately 700 unionized employees work on the REAL campus, and according to the terms of the proposal, Brant will assume all rights and obligations under the existing collective agreements as it relates to the union. There are also about 50 out-of-scope employees at REAL, which Brant is to offer employment or pay a severance to if they are terminated. In a statement to CTV News, REAL Union representative Bernie Olenek says employees are understandably nervous about what the changes may bring to the campus, adding Regina Exhibition Park is a jewel and has served Regina and the province well for decades. The union declining further comment pending the sale's approval by council.
Put yourself in the employee's shoes. The sooner they understand who we are and what our intentions are and where they sit, which is everyone has a job. Everyone is at the pay rate they're at.
Administration adds, should the sale be approved, it will go about the process of dissolving REAL as a city-owned organization.
REAL as an entity will no longer exist, just for the sake of clarity.
I've told the team there's other things that we can focus on because having an organization doesn't necessarily cause us a bunch of work. So we'll figure that out and work with council on that later.
Council is set to discuss and potentially conduct its final vote on the proposal's terms Wednesday afternoon. Donovan May, CTV News, Regina.
Hundreds of people gathered in Regina today to walk in memory of missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, and Two-Spirit people. This is the third annual Honoring Their Spirits Smudge Walk and Gathering, a partnership between the Heritage Community Association, Carmichael Outreach, the Friendship Center, and the Francescois Association. Today's walk is to commemorate Red Dress Day, which is being held Tuesday, May 5th. The day began with a pipe ceremony and breakfast, followed by powwow dancers and drum group performances.
We're just acknowledging that we're here in solidarity with those who are experiencing that, and walking to say that these folks have families. These are mothers, sisters, grandmas, daughters, and we just want everyone to come home and to be safe with their families.
As they say, participation in the walk is growing each year and plan to continue the annual event. Human trafficking inside hotels is a growing issue in smaller Canadian communities, including here in Saskatchewan. As CTV's Laura Woodward reports, more hospitality workers are being trained to spot the warning signs of the often hidden crime.
We have seen a noticeable uptick in trend into smaller cities and rural communities.
The Canadian Centre to End Human Trafficking is seeing more cases in smaller centres. Ashley Franson Tingley says constant movement between cities and towns helps traffickers avoid law enforcement and further isolate their victims.
We need to put ring boards up around Saskatchewan, because as these traffickers move in small groups from, let's say, Toronto through Saskatoon to Regina up to Edmonton and back down, that lane, we need to disrupt that traffic.
It's why hospitality workers across Saskatchewan are being trained to spot the red flags. The government is spending $115,000 to train hospitality and tourism workers to identify signs of human trafficking. It follows a push by the Hotel Association of Canada earlier this year to train the entire sector nationwide.
Very often, it's hotel employees who are best positioned to notice when something is not right.
Possible warning signs in hotels can include requests for rooms near exits, refusing housekeeping, and guests who don't have control over their own ID or money.
There's always a do not disturb sign on the door, loud music, only requests for clean towels and sheets.
While much of the training focus is on people staying at hotels, some cases can involve hotel staff themselves being exploited.
Particularly within hospitality, within housekeeping.
Anyone who sees signs of possible human trafficking is encouraged to call the Canadian Human Trafficking Hotline. It's confidential, multilingual, and connects victims with the services they need. Laura Woodward, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Sabine Ahmed joins us for our first look at weather conditions. Sabine, no notes today, just beautiful outside all day, hardly any clouds.
Love it.
Fantastic.
I love it. Now, if only it could stay that way, right, Cole?
Well, all good things come to an end.
I mean, the temperatures are still going to be quite nice. We don't have to worry about any below seasonal temperatures, except for the start of next week. But we're still looking at those temperatures above zero. And today, we saw temperatures in the 20s right across southern Saskatchewan. For Regina, we warmed up to about 21 degrees late this afternoon. Average high is usually about 15, 16 degrees. Now, we probably will be seeing those temperatures similar to the average as we head into tomorrow, but expecting another very warm Sunday before we see those temperatures start to cool down just a little as we start next week. Now, the sunshine is expected to continue to stick around. As you can see on the radar satellite, saw a little bit of rain coming through parts of central and northern Saskatchewan, but even right now, our current temperatures, we're still sitting in the 20s for much of southern Saskatchewan. So enjoy this evening, and I'll have more details coming up in your full forecast. Cole?
All right. Thanks, Sabine. Well, Saskatchewan health officials say cases of pertussis, also known as whooping cough, could be trending slightly upward this year. This after an exposure alert was issued at Prince Albert's Hospital. CTV's Jasmine Pelche has more.
On April 19th, there was a whooping cough exposure risk at the Victoria Hospital ER in Prince Albert.
So there was a PSA put out by the Saskatchewan Health Authority. Obviously, whenever there is, a situation where there may be, an elevated risk to the public, in a healthcare facility, certainly a public service announcement's put out, just to make sure that people know that there might be elevated risk.
The infection, also called pertussis, is spread through droplets in the air in the same way as a common cold. Although the SHA says whooping cough cough is more infectious. Small children and babies under 1 year old are most at risk, along with pregnant women in the 3rd trimester, as the infection can be passed to newborns. Early symptoms are sneezing, runny nose, fever, and a cough which gets worse over time and can lead to vomiting. Severe cases can lead to complications like seizures, impacts to brain function, and rib fractures from intense coughing. Whooping cough can sometimes be fatal in babies. Adults may see more mild symptoms.
Adults and adolescents may not necessarily have those classic symptoms. They may have just something like a protracted cough that goes on for a long time.
In 2025, Saskatchewan saw 218 reported cases of whooping cough. The numbers for 2026 may end up being slightly higher based on trends from the first quarter.
This is a preventable disease, a vaccine-preventable disease. This is an opportunity for people to check their immunization status. And if they are not immunized, or if they are not fully immunized, of course, this is an opportunity for them to update their immunization status.
During the COVID pandemic, the number of reported cases in the province decreased, but it has risen again in the last several years. Jasmine Pelche, CTV News, Prince Albert.
Regina's Urgent Care Centre is again cutting back its hours on Sunday. Urgent Care will be open from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Sunday before returning to its normal 9:30 p.m. closing time on Monday. When Urgent Care isn't open, patients are being directed to Regina's 2 emergency rooms instead. The reduced hours are due to physician availability. Saskatchewan's air ambulance service is marking a milestone this year. The emergency service is marking 80 years of delivering emergency medical care across the province. Founded in 1946, it's considered the oldest non-military air medical transport program in North America. Its first flight was from Regina to Liberty.
Since that inaugural mission, it's transported nearly 78,500 patients, completing roughly 1,500 critical care patient transfers each year. 78,500 is a significant number, and 80 years is a long time.
The Saskatchewan Air Ambulance Program has 4 medically equipped planes staffed by nurses and paramedics who provide service 24/7. The University of Saskatchewan's dentistry clinic has completed its $24 million renovation. Community leaders and media gathered at the university to see the newly renovated clinic that will increase access to affordable care while improving dental education in Saskatchewan. It also opens up opportunities to have dentists trained to become specialists here in Saskatchewan instead of campuses across the country. Saskatchewan's Conflict of Interest Commissioner has dismissed a request for an investigation into MLA Ken Cheveldayoff over a lease arrangement for his constituency office. NDP MLA Jordan McPhail asked the commissioner for an opinion on whether Cheveldayoff benefited from the arrangement or had a conflict of interest. However, the commissioner dismissed the request, saying in his decision, McPhail did not provide reasonable and probable grounds that Cheveldayoff violated rules around expense claims or that he derived a financial benefit from the leasing arrangement. The Royal Saskatchewan Museum is getting a new warehouse for storage of dinosaur bones. The museum's growing collection of Saskatchewan fossils has outgrown the current space, and one of the artifacts making the move, Mega Munch. Wayne Mantika reports.
A new warehouse is something for Mega Munch to roar about. He had been housed in an old warehouse since retiring after 65 million and 37 years.
Yes, he'll be at the new facility and being retired over there, living his best life.
Museum storage and workshop operations are being relocated to an empty government warehouse on Park Street. It's a $22 million project crucial to specimen preservation.
You know, this building is no longer conducive for what we need. We need more space for our collections, and we need to be able to protect our collections a bit better and have a better space for our research and exhibit development.
Museum technical and research operations had been housed in a government building on Albert Street, less than a block north of the museum. The building had not undergone significant renovation since built 102 years ago as the head office for Saskatchewan government telephones.
When a building hits 100 years old, it's got some age on it, so we'll have to see where that ends up taking us.
The government has not made a decision on the future of this historic building. However, given the many original architectural features from a century ago, it could be a prime candidate for restoration by the public or private sector. Wayne Mantica, CTV News, Regina.
If you're in Regina, you'll likely be seeing a team of street sweepers brushing through your neighborhood soon. Regina residential neighborhoods will see the slow-moving convoys rolling through to remove sand and debris built up over the winter. The sweeps will happen between 4 a.m. and 10 p.m. as crews clean more than 1,000 kilometers of residential roads over the next month and a half or so. Residents are asked to move vehicles so the entire street can be cleared. You can check dates on the city's website. Moose Jaw also getting its sweeping program underway. After last night's announcement right here on CTV, big winners for the Hospitals of Regina Foundation Home Lottery showed up to collect their prizes this morning. This year's spring lottery was a huge success, selling out before the early bird deadline. The grand prize show home, worth $1.8 million, was won by Laszlo Berta. He was met at the front door by Dino Sophocles, the foundation's president and CEO. The money raised by the home lottery goes to support health care and purchase medical equipment for the hospitals in Regina. Berta has bought several tickets over the years and still can't believe he's a winner.
Of course, supporting and, of course, winning. And actually, I never win anything. And I thought I'm gonna buy another time, last time. And if I'm not gonna win, then I'm never gonna buy again.
Berta says now he'll definitely continue buying tickets. The 50-50 winner is Dave Constable. He takes home $593,000. Still ahead, the real impact on your wallet of rising gas prices and what Canadians say they'll give up, and how the federal government hopes to clear a lengthy backlog of air travel complaints. As oil prices surge, so has the price of gas. In Regina, prices jumped to nearly $1.90 per liter at some stations this week. A similar story playing out across much of the country, with you paying more at the pumps. Cost savings do have to come from somewhere, though. CTV's Adrian Gabriel finds out where.
With gas prices soaring, Canadians are feeling less than fulfilled at the pumps.
It's ridiculous, to be honest.
When you look at the price on the pump, what goes through your mind?
I'm going to have to put my car away for a bit.
What we're paying is a direct result as to what's going on in the Middle East.
The war in Iran and the subsequent closure of the Strait of Hormuz, where 20% of the world's oil normally travels through, has sent prices peaking.
I paid $170.
CTV News crunched the numbers. An average size vehicle has about a 50-liter gas tank. Most Canadians fill up once per week. The cheapest national average for gas so far this year is about $1.22 per liter. Over a 12-month period, that would run you about $3,172 in gas per year. On the high end, the national average now sits at about $1.84 per liter. If the high price sticks around, it would cost an average of about $4,784 a year at the pumps. That's a difference of $1,612.
I think it's going to get much higher. I see $2 a liter as not only a possibility, it's a probability at this stage.
The potential increase has some drivers already cutting back on other expenses. You'd have to cut back on activities with your family.
Yes, I'm going to have to, due to the fact that the gas prices are affecting us a lot.
My meat consumption has gone down significantly, and for me, there needs to be an offset.
Those watching the market say there's a belief that elevated prices could be the new normal for several more months.
I can see this going to the end of the year. Merry Christmas.
Analysts tell us that even if the Strait of Hormuz was reopened today, it would take at least 2 months before we see any meaningful decrease in the price here at the pumps. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, Toronto.
On the war in the Middle East, the U.S. Senate has rejected a measure aimed at restricting U.S. President Donald Trump's war powers by requiring congressional approval.
The yeas are 47, the nays are 50, and the motion is not agreed to.
The vote came just hours before the war hit the 60-day mark. A post-Vietnam law says Congress must sign off on all war actions. However, some lawmakers insist the president can unilaterally extend U.S. military involvement by another 30 days. Others have argued that ceasefire days do not count towards the total. Meanwhile, Trump is signaling he may consider pulling American troops out of Italy and Spain after threatening to pull U.S. troops from Germany over their refusal to support the war in Iran.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I probably will. Why should I? Look, why shouldn't I? Italy has not been of any help to us, and Spain has been horrible. Absolutely.
Trump's threat to Germany came after the country's chancellor said America was being humiliated by Iran. Spain's prime minister has been critical of the U.S. and Israel's war against Iran from the outset, while Italy recently refused to allow the U.S. to use an airbase in Sicily. Trump also criticized NATO allies for not sending their navies to help reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Back in Canada, the federal government says it has a plan to tackle a massive backlog of air travel complaints. Travelers have long been calling for action to speed up the process that in some cases can take years before being resolved. CTV's Abigail Bimman reports.
Delayed till 12:45, then delayed till 1:10 a.m.
Frequent flyer Robert Walker says he's collected so many delay and cancellation messages from airlines he can write a book.
You get nowhere, it takes forever. I haven't got time to worry about it, and I just don't believe that anything will ever be done.
He's not optimistic about the federal government's commitment to better handle air travel complaints, included in the spring economic update.
We put in place a system that, in hindsight, was onerous, expensive, took too long.
The Fed's now proposing to quadruple the fines airlines could face to a maximum of $1 million. Clear the complaint backlog by using a third party based on the successful model in the UK and EU, and simplify the complaint process.
The exemptions, the lack of clarity, the confusion, the loopholes.
Since January, the Canadian Transportation Agency tells CTV News it's received more than 1,000 complaints every week. That backlog now stands at 97,000, and it can take more than 2 years for your complaint to be reviewed.
This is really, I would argue, the first time that we've seen the government acknowledge that the system itself needs to be reformed, and so we're encouraged by that.
The National Airlines Council of Canada told us that before new details about much bigger fines emerged Friday and wouldn't share updated reaction.
I don't believe the government.
While this air passenger rights advocate says Ottawa is offering smoke and mirrors.
The government is essentially trying to solve a PR problem. When they are going to privatize it, they will be able to shake their finger at whatever third party is running the adjudication process and say, you're not doing your job well.
Gabor Lukash says the reason the system works better in Europe isn't because of a third-party system, but rather easy-to-follow rules about whether compensation is owed, which he would like to see in Canada. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
An Alberta judge has granted an injunction and ordered a separatist group to remove a list of electors from its website. Elections Alberta says they're taking every action possible to recover the information. The agency says voter information may have been inappropriately used by a registered political party and that a third party may have been involved. Security features added to the lists let the agency know who received each specific copy. The information appears on the Centurion Project website. The group is mobilizing to try and win Alberta sovereignty. Under the province's Elections Act, registered parties can use a list of electors to communicate with them, but that information can't be shared with anyone who isn't authorized. Still ahead, Regina cornholers get the chance to learn from the first all-women's pro team in the sport.
Wake up and win with CTV Your Morning Saskatchewan. Tune in weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m. for your daily code word for your chance to win $20,000 powered by Affinity Credit Union.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at what your forecast is looking like heading into the weekend, and it's not quite exactly like today, but still close enough. We're going to continue to see sunny conditions. As we take a look outside, maybe some cloud cover rolling in, but temperatures still sitting at 20 degrees in Regina with the winds just over 25 kilometers an hour. As I mentioned earlier, we did warm up to 21 degrees, but now we're starting to see the temperatures cool slightly as we head into the evening. So again, not much to show you on the radar satellite. We did see a little bit of that precipitation coming through north and central Saskatchewan in the form of rain. Southern Saskatchewan, mostly clear conditions and sunnier conditions throughout most of the day before we started to see the clouds rolling in, as you can see on the radar satellite there. So heading into the evening, not much to show you until we get into the early morning hours of tomorrow. You can see some scattered precipitation in the form of rain for the south. Swift Current, Regina could see some scattered rain as well around the Maple Creek area and Assiniboia. But as we continue into start your day Saturday, throughout all of Saturday into Saturday evening, you can see clear conditions for most of the province, and expecting to continue to see more sunshine in the province there. Now heading into Sunday, different story, a little bit more cloud cover, expecting to see more so a mix of sun and cloud throughout the day, and there is a chance we'll see some of that precipitation coming in from the north later in the evening. You can see mostly just north of the Yorkton area. It looks like we could see possibly some storm activity in the form of some thunderstorms in and around the Wynyard area, but other than that, it's not looking like any type of big systems that are going to be leaving large rainfall totals. And you can even see in the southeast there around the Estevan, Weyburn area, we could see some rain, and in the Maple Creek and Assiniboia area. But again, it's just scattered showers at this time. That's what it looks like. Now, as we head into Monday morning, it's a color that we have gotten very used to seeing. It is snow, but again, with our lows expected Sunday evening to be sitting above zero, and heading into Monday, another above zero day. This snow, exactly what you're seeing around the Assiniboia area. In particular, it's mixed precipitation, so rain, freezing rain and snow. A lot of these little bubbles that we're seeing most likely will be in the form of wet snow if we do see any of that come through. Again, first thing Monday morning, so if you're making your way to work and you see some of that wet snow, that's why. It's just some scattered precipitation again. But heading into tomorrow, we're looking at our temperatures to continue to be within that seasonal range, even for the lows in the north, but warming up well above seasonal. Laloche, 17 degrees there, mainly sunny. 13 for La Ronge and mainly sunny. 19 and nothing but sunshine for Lloydminster. Could see some light showers tonight, and Prince Albert could also see some showers tonight, but warming up to 16 degrees and mainly sunny, and 20 degrees expected for a daytime high for North Battleford. Sunshine there, mainly sunny. Saskatoon, 17 also for Yorkton, but seeing a mix of sun and cloud in the area. And the southwest, very close to 20 degrees, 19 for Maple Creek and Moose Jaw, 18 for Swift Current in the southeast, expecting the similar temperatures. 19 for Weyburn and Estevan with a mix of sun and cloud, 18 for Assiniboia, a mix of sun and cloud, and for Regina tonight, cooling down to 6 degrees with the winds at 20 kilometers an hour, warming to 16, mainly sunny tomorrow with the winds up to 45 kilometers an hour. Now heading into Sunday, expecting some windier conditions, so warmer conditions certainly. So again, tomorrow still within that seasonal range of our 15, 16 degree daytime high. By Sunday, we're back up to 20 degrees, but the winds are also expected to be gusting up to about 65 kilometers an hour. So something to keep in mind there. And winds still pretty high on Monday, gusting up to 50. And we'll see a cooler start to the week. 6 degrees on Monday, 8 on Tuesday, mainly sunny. And then the warm up again. 11 in a mix of sun and cloud Wednesday, Thursday, 16 and sunny, and by Friday 15 and a mix of sun and clouds. So we're looking at a really great week ahead, and it's just the first week of May, so we're going to start to see a lot more warmer temperatures there, Cole.
It's really nice to be seeing some of these 20-degree temperatures after some of the ups and downs we've had. You know, we can handle whatever's coming early next week, Sabine.
I like it. Yeah, I agree.
Right on. Thank you.
You bet.
Well, whether it's a casual game on a lawn or a high-stakes competitive matchup, cornhole has grown rapidly across North America this decade. This weekend, a team of pro players is in Regina, teaching local competitors some tips and tricks in order to master the toss. Damian Smith has that story.
It's the third edition of the Lady Boss of the Toss in Regina.
Celebrating women in cornhole. So when we travel across the country and play in tournaments, typically the money goes home in men's pockets. So we created a tournament that all the money goes home in ladies' pockets.
And this time around, the Saskatchewan Cornhole Association partnered with the Arizona Burn, an all-woman team of professional players.
Once you get the mechanics down, it's all about being able to stay focused in the game and kind of not take yourself out of the game too much or worry about what other people are doing.
It's an opportunity for Saskatchewan talent like 16-year-old Taya Bexon to learn, traveling from Prince Albert to compete.
I always get in my head, and then how to learn some new shots like a roll bag. I'm struggling with my new bags, how to do a roll bag.
I honestly just want the girls to learn the mental side from us a little bit. I mean, everyone can throw a four-bagger. So the questions they had today, great questions. I wasn't expecting that.
If I have a game break, I go in a room by myself, play some music, like just breathe and like reset. But if it's mid-game, I take a step away from the board, redo my steps.
While Bexon is one of the younger competitors here, Ramirez says there's a push to bring in younger players across North America.
You see the kids right now kind of taking over. Cornhole's getting pretty big out there. Now you could go get a scholarship to play cornhole.
I still be competitive though. I'm a very competitive person, but I always go in a tournament with a positive attitude.
The tournament runs through Sunday. Damian Smith, CTV News, Regina. Coming up, a homegrown Saskatchewan Roughriders receiver hangs up his cleats as a Grey Cup champion. Another homegrown Saskatchewan Roughrider is calling it a career.
Bring a lot of pressure. Harris down the field.
Receiver Mitch Picton has decided to go out a champion, retiring from the game this morning after playing 6 seasons with the CFL team he grew up watching. He was a 5th-round pick for the Riders in the 2017 CFL draft after a successful 5 years with the U of R Rams, where he set the school record for 24 career touchdown catches. While he did start some games for the Riders, he was mainly used as an extra receiver, catching 96 passes for 1,081 yards and 6 touchdowns over 62 regular season games.
It was a dream come true. Play for this team, play for this province, represent this team and this province in the best way that I could. It's something I took pride in every day. Not a day went by that I wasn't thankful to come to work here.
Since he has been back from injury.
I truly do love the game of football. These last 8 years, and before that with the Rams, it's been, it truly has been a dream come true and something that I'll never forget.
Picton also a large presence in the community with the Rider Foundation. 2 Regina cheerleading teams have climbed their way to the finals at the Summit Championship in Orlando for the 2nd year in a row. U16 Level 3 team showdown from Rebels Cheerleading Athletics finished in a 3-way tie for 4th. Boss Athletics Vogue finished 18th out of 36 teams, but only the top 15 make the cut. Meanwhile, Rebels Revolution made it to finals in the U18 Level 4 category. They were sitting in 6th out of 18 teams after Thursday's semifinals. Boss Hollywood also competed in the same category, where they finished 13th overall. After making it to the Stanley Cup Finals 2 years in a row, the Edmonton Oilers have been eliminated in round 1 of the playoffs, losing Game 6 to the Anaheim Ducks.
Rebound score! Zach Hyman has brought Edmonton to within 3-2.
That goal by Zach Hyman in the second period was eventually ruled a no-goal since the puck was kicked. The Ducks went on to down the Oilers 5-2 to advance into the second round. Speaking after the loss, Oilers captain Connor McDavid offered his view of what made the difference in Game 6.
They played very fast, and we weren't very fast. Yeah, it was just the opposite. They had a good start. We didn't, chasing the game.
Stretch pass. Opportunity coming up for Tiziano, scores!
That leaves the Montreal Canadiens as the only Canadian team left in the playoffs. The Habs are hoping to punch their ticket to the second round at the Bell Centre in Montreal tonight against Tampa. The Canadiens have a 3-2 lead in that series with Tampa Bay. Right now, that game's still at 0-0. After the break, what to know if you're trying to get in on Saskatchewan's big game draw this year.
All right, welcome back. Let's take a look at what your rural forecast is looking like for tomorrow. And really, it's just going to be another beautiful day in Saskatchewan. Lots of sunshine expected and above seasonal temperatures for many areas, including Outlook getting to 20 degrees with a mix of sun and cloud, 19 for Lloydminster and Kindersley, 18 for Spiritwood, 17 for Watrous and Meadow Lake, 14 and sunny for Melfort, mainly sunny, and 16 for Hudson Bay and Wynyard, 14 as well, but a mix of sun and cloud down there. And then closer to the southern border, much of the same, a little bit more cloud cover though in the southwest. Cloudy and 19 for Maple Creek, East End Cypress 17 and cloudy along with Rockglen. Over in the southeast, Carlisle, a mix of sun and cloud, 18 degrees along with Coronach, 17 mainly sunny for Broadview, and Lumsden and Pilot Butte 16 and mainly sunny. Rosetown 21 and mainly sunny. If we take a closer look at Edam, sunny, 17 degrees, nothing but sunshine for tomorrow. Winds picking up to about 30 kilometers an hour, and then heading into the evening, we'll see that temperature drop down to about 4 degrees for the low. Expecting the wind chill to be +1.
The application window is open for Saskatchewan residents to enter the province's big game draw. The draw allows hunters to enter for a chance to hunt mule deer, elk, moose, and pronghorn across the province. Applications are open until May 28th through the province's hunting, angling, and trapping license system, also known as HAL. Successful applicants will be able to buy licenses starting August 1st. Saskatchewan had the second highest container return rate in the country last year, according to the province. In 2024-25, Sarcan collected and recycled approximately 491.6 million containers. That's a return rate of 82.6%. The national average hovers just under the 76% mark. That accounts for more than 43 million pounds of recyclable materials that were kept out of Saskatchewan landfills. A push is underway for Regina to take a closer look at rental housing safety as concerns grow over thousands of units needing major repairs. Last night, a community discussion was held about the possibility of creating a Regina rental registry. The system is already used in other Canadian cities, and supporters say it could help track rental properties, identify problem units, and ensure homes meet basic safety standards.
We rely on a mechanism that exists through what is commonly called the rentalsman in Saskatchewan, where you can report issues with your unit. And so that's good, but it's province-wide. And what we have learned is there's thousands of units in Regina that are in need of major repairs.
According to Statistics Canada, more than 2,500 rental units in Regina do require major repairs, including plumbing, electrical, and structural issues. The idea is still in the research phase, with Councillor Zakidniak looking for public feedback before moving ahead on anything. The Wildlife Festival is underway in Regina, running through the weekend. Cobb's Exotic Animal Rescue, based in Calgary, is on tour with more than 50 different types of animals. In this interactive experience, visitors can meet and learn about reptiles, sloths, kangaroos, and more. New this year, a capybara exhibit.
We have a park, but it's open seasonally, but we have costs that run all year long. And quite honestly, we love sharing these animals with people, you know, and we can't put a park in all these locations. It doesn't make sense, but we can come for a weekend, you know, and it's really, really nice to see people's experience with them.
100% of the proceeds from ticket sales and animal experiences go towards maintaining the 500 animals in the park. All right, time for a look at your farm markets. First off, canola's futures price was down about $7.10 today to $7.56. The street price is at around $692 per ton today. As for amber durum wheat, staying steady at $2.78. Red spring wheat was up slightly, not quite enough to get back some of its losses yesterday to $2.96 per ton. And looking at feed barley and flax, both of those staying steady at $250 and $630 per ton. Your money markets, the TSX was down about 73 points today. The Dow Jones down 152 points to 49,499. As for your Canadian dollar, down a little bit today to 73.58 cents US. And in commodities, gold was down $3.64 an ounce today. West Texas Intermediate crude also down about $3 a barrel to $101.94 a barrel. Western Canadian Select crude also down just under $82 a barrel. Gas prices, as we've been talking about, at $189.9 most commonly in Regina. The lowest you'll see is $175.9.
Energy will expand a pipeline system at a cost of $1.5 billion U.S. The gas system runs from New York State to the Midwest and Southeast. The Canadian company just reported earnings with revenue for the quarter coming in at $3.9 billion. Now, the system expansion should be up and running by 2030. The Wall Street Journal is reporting Spirit Airlines is going out of business. The budget airline was hoping for a government bailout to keep it up in the air, but talks on funding seem to have failed. Now, later in the day, the U.S. president said he's still weighing the merits of bailing out the company. Apple stock gained today after the company reported solid earnings on Thursday. The iPhone maker's getting a lift from new products like the MacBook Neo, its less expensive laptop, and its new iPad Air model. Apple expects sales to rise between 14% and 17% for its next quarter. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marella Fernandez.
Coming up tonight on CTV, we have Celebrity Jeopardy, followed by back-to-back episodes of The Big Bang Theory, a brief intermission with Boston Blue, and then another episode of The Big Bang Theory, followed by E-Talk, then your national news at 11, and your local news with Connor Chan at 11:30. What was once a pie-in-the-sky idea is now a reality. Little Caesars is cooking up a new drone delivery service with test runs being launched in Texas. The company says a pie ordered from a nearby shop can be loaded onto the drone and delivered within 5 minutes after the pizza's ready. Little Caesars says there's no additional price as the service is faster and cheaper than traditional delivery. Not sure how those would hold up in a Saskatchewan blizzard, but that's a later problem, since I'm sure it'll take a few years at least for that to make its way up here. A frightening close encounter for a pair of California surfers who were chased by a shark, and the moment was all caught on camera.
Oh my God, it's coming for you! Run! Run! Go!
The great white, described as 10 to 12 feet long, seemed more curious than hungry. It followed the hydrofoil surfers for a stressful 10 minutes before losing interest, but it left the surfers with a memory that will last a lifetime and a story that will be told for just as long, with the shark probably getting bigger and bigger every time it's retold. But if you have a shark encounter, that's your right. That's all we have for you tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a fantastic weekend, and we hope to see you again tonight at 11:30 and on Monday.